Welcome to another episode of Last Shot Podcast. I'm your host, Torlin Fitzpatrick, here with my co-host,
Troy Holston Jr.
And guys, we got a great episode for you today. I got someone who has been very influential in my own personal life, someone who has mentored me and showed me the way from being a young man to a grown man in terms of, achieving my goals, being responsible, being disciplined. This was a guy who was in my ear and constantly riding me like, T, you got to get right. What are we doing? You got to get better. He was someone that I really looked up to. And, hearing correction and constructive criticism from someone that you really admire, it just hits different. So I'm glad to have this guest on. And Coach Hanson, thank you for being here. And I really appreciate you joining the pod today, man.
No problem. See, I appreciate it, man. I have great respect for you. And from what you said in terms of me being on you, as you know, I'm the type of coach, I'm going to be on you. I'm going to be on you hard. But at the same time, I care about you as a person. That's the biggest thing is I want to see you do good as a person, even more so than an athlete, because I know the athlete part, it's going to stop at some time. And if you ain't prepared as a person, then you're not going to succeed in life, man. So I had all the respect for you in terms of your work ethic. And, I appreciate the fact that you listened, because there's a lot of players out there, when you're getting on them and pushing them and trying to tell them those things, they don't really want to hear it. And then it's too late. They call you up and say, well, coach, I need some direction, and you was the type of guy, you was like any other player that you needed that direction. And you was hitting some ups and downs in terms of being disciplined and not being disciplined, but you was always the person that listened and listened and listened. And that's helped you get to where you are now.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Coach. And like I said, it was because I came from someone who set a great example. So even the way that you live your life now, you're still someone who's very active and someone who is always trying to, get other people to do better, whether with their mental health or just being overall healthy mind and body. You walk that out in your own life. So huge kudos to you, man, and just how you are setting that example. So I wanted to be like you, man. So that's why, I was able to listen because you were an example that I could follow, and that's something that is important in the realm of coaching and mentorship is being an example. So you are definitely that.
No, I appreciate that. And whenever I hear something like that, I always say, be better than me.
Yeah,
be better than me.
Right, and this podcast is strictly about that. I want to give a message to young athletes, whether at college level or young professionals. I want them to hear something on this show that helps them in their process of them going and pursuing their personal development or going on to college level or pro level. I want them to take something from this show that they can use and apply to help them on their journey. Our first question right now, we're going to get into our days at USF. I know we had some success together in 2012. In my opinion, one of the greatest times to be a Bull was that time. But you've coached a lot of teams before that 2012 season, and I want to get your opinion on what was special about that group.
Unselfish, man. Unselfish. They knew that they bought into the fact that offensively, we're in the Big East when it was the real Big East. Offensively, we wasn't as talented as a lot of those teams offensively. But we bought into the fact that, you know what? If we dig in and be a hell of a defensive team, we can make some noise. And that's when that was the thing, is that we had guys on there that bought in to the fact that if we play good defense, play together on offense, that we can have some success. And that was one of the most, from Kentucky or South Florida, that was one of the most fun seasons I've ever been a part of.
Yeah, and I believe that even to this day, I've played on several teams on a professional level, and every locker room I went into, I was looking for that feeling, looking for that togetherness and that unselfishness, and just that feeling and that environment of, I got your back. We're going to go into this game and to this challenge. We're going to be all together, and we're going to really fight. And that's something that we really had, was a fighting spirit with that team. So yeah, appreciate that, Coach. Yeah.
Coach, now I know that you, with both playing and coaching in Japan, I wanted to talk with you about your experience in Japan, maybe even give us some insight on the culture that you might have admired, about Japan.
First thing I'm going to say is one day y'all might look up and I might be living in Japan. And that's for real. I love Japan, man. Love Japan. I have so many, I played over there for 8 years, coached there for 1 year, and I still have so many connections, with my Japanese teammates and other people that I've met over there that, I stay in touch with. But man, they're just great people, man. They're very appreciative. Their culture, it's all about respect, man, and they're very proud of their tradition. And there's sometimes because Japan is it's not sexy like Italy or France or whatever. And you've had players that have played in those countries to come to Japan and did not like the whole structure and environment of their culture and would leave. But what they didn't understand is being in that culture would teach you how to appreciate your own culture, which is here in our country. And what the other thing it did is it caused players to understand the trust and loyalty of being paid. Because as you know, T, you go to Europe and those places, you can go without getting paid. And in Japan, you sign a contract, you're gonna get paid. If they don't want you back, they gotta go sign you back into their contract. But just the respect factor, man, and if you they know it's difficult to live in their culture. Not that it's a bad culture, but they have different languages. It's very structured. And if you go in there and just buy in and try to just indulge into what their culture is about, and even learn some of the language, they love you, man. My first year over there, I took a Japanese class the first year, and so each year as I stayed over there, I just started learning stuff, just hearing my teammates, hearing people. I can't speak fluently, but I could understand it more than I could speak it. But I love the culture, man. Love it, love it, love it. I told my fiance, I'm taking you there one day. I said, don't be surprised if we end up moving there. I love it, man. Great, great place.
Yeah,
looks like I need to move out or need to at least go see Japan. I've never been there, so definitely gotta check it out.
I mean, I'm gonna tell you, it's just a great place to go, man. Just the whole culture aspect of it, all the things that they have. And here's one thing that people may not realize too is, now I was more on what this scene was going on as a players. They have like hip hop clubs, they got jazz clubs, they got techno clubs, they got all those things. But it's just kind of what, huh?
I said reggae club.
Reggae clubs, but it's just not about that. You know what I'm saying? But they have all those things. And so it's from the first year I was there playing to my last year, they really, from a standpoint of making it more comfortable over there, from a technology standpoint, it got better for me because when I first got over there, there was no internet, no satellite TV. I'm from the Stone Ages, so we didn't have all that. So me and my family would go to the video store back when they had Blockbuster and stuff, and we would rent 10, 20 movies a week. So after my third or fourth year, that's when the satellite stuff started coming. So DirecTV came, and then all this stuff. So now you can start watching all this stuff from the States. So that's the only thing that I needed to say, okay, I'm good. I can watch stuff from home when I'm in an apartment. As far as going out into the city and different, that's enough stuff to be able to do. I just want to be able to feel like I'm home when I'm in my apartment as far as watching TV. And when it got to that point, I got really, really comfortable over there.
Okay. Yeah, I think that any player nowadays that finds their niche overseas, and if that place is Japan, let's say, for example, like, do you remember Devontae Gardner that went to Marquette?
Yeah, I recruited him, trying to get him to South Florida.
Yeah, so big fella had been over there for years consecutive. I don't know, probably like eight or 9 years consecutive.
In Japan?
Yeah, and this has been a very lucrative for him, you know what I mean, as far as like stability of having that employment, that consistent money. Like you said, like when you go to Japan, like you're going to get paid, like whatever they said they're going to pay you, they're going to pay you. So anybody that has had that experience, it's been very beneficial for their career. And I'm glad that I got the opportunity to at least go over there to see what it was like. But for me personally, and I don't know if it was like this when you played, because we played in different times, but being a European style 4-man and having 4 years under my belt on the Euro level, to where I developed my game even further after as a European pro, being a point forward, someone who read the game, who played a very team-oriented style. and getting to Japan, where I made significantly more money than I was making in Europe, that came with a lot of responsibility, that salary and that money. And, my team basically sat me down and was like, hey, we're paying you too much money for you not to be leading the league in any statistical category. Now, mind you, my team was first place at the time. We were head and shoulders above the competition. I think we were maybe 10 games ahead of the second place team. I was leading my team in a lot of different statistical categories, but it was like, hey, for what we're paying you, like you're going to need to put on a show. You're going to have to turn it up. But it just wasn't my style of play. And would you agree that, that may happen to a player who's coming from the European game over to Japan and like having that more team feel, selfless play, team play, and you going over to Japan?
You know what? I don't think it's a from Europe to Japan. I think it's a player situation. Because there's plenty of players that came over to Japan from Europe, and they know, you know that from what you're saying, their teams tell them, you got to get out here and do things, and they're shooting probably 20, 25 shots a game, and so it's about the player and the style in terms of what team you're going to. You know what I mean? And so here's my thing. This is where agents come in, because agents, obviously, they're going to try to get you as much money as possible and put you in a situation wherever they can, right? So now, but what agents don't necessarily do is say, okay, let me talk to this team. What do they want from this player? This is not really T's style to go here and shoot 25, 30 times like they're wanting. So that information is not communicated, or it's not even tried to be communicated, because it's just about getting the players money. And so if agents, go searching for teams, they like, okay, what do you need this player to do that you're looking for? And they say, okay, 20, I need him to shoot up, get 20, 25 shots, 25, 30 points. And then they need to go down their roster and see if they got a player that does that. But they don't do that. If they got a player that need a job, look for a job, they're gonna, push him to that. So I'm not mad at the agent for that, but it's just the way it is, because he did get you in a situation where you made a lot more money.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's what happens. It comes down to the style that the player plays to what the team is expecting from him.
Absolutely. That's a great point, and I agree with that 100%. But being one of my personal favorite coaches and someone who's like impacted my life directly. What was the reason you stopped coaching basketball?
My youngest daughter, Tish, as you know, she was diagnosed with depression when she was in high school. Yeah, she was diagnosed with depression. She was in high school, and it was tough, obviously on her, but tough on me too, because who I spend most of my time with.
Your kids, man.
No, you guys.
Okay,
right, players.
Yeah.
If I ain't spending time with you, I'm in the office. I'm on recruiting. More so than, and that's what people don't understand. We spend more time in our job than we do with our families. And so it was tough for me with her going through that. It was even more tough on her with me being gone. So, we got her some counseling, but when somebody's dealing with depression, mental health, and you start the counseling route, it could take 3, 4, 5, 6 counselors before you find the right one. And so we went through that stage, and she ended up getting a scholarship to Liberty University in Virginia. And that same year is when I took the job as a head coach of a pro team in Japan. So during that year when she was at Liberty, we was 14, 15-hour difference. So we'd be FaceTime, and it could be 3 o'clock in the morning my time. But we stayed in touch that kind of way, but the depression got worse. So after I got back from that season, I took her out of Liberty, and I enrolled her in Kentucky. At that time, her major was physical therapy, but she wanted to stay. I took her out of basketball, but she wanted to stay around the game, because at one point she wanted to get back in. We just wanted to get her mentals right. So I enrolled her in Kentucky, and I got her a manager position with the women's basketball team, so she could be around the game, still be working on her degree, but be around the game, and stuff. And so after that year was up, she was ready to start playing again. And that's when I decided to move her closer to home, to University of North Florida. But at the end of the day, seeing her go through that, me not being there, and all those years of coaching and not being there, and even though when she enrolled in University of North Florida, she was still dealing with the mental health. So at that point, I said, you know what? I've had a great playing career. I've had a great coaching career. Now it's time for me to, give my kids some time back. Uh, Toughest decision I've made in my life, man. Because, from playing to coaching, that's all I've done. Loved it. And so it was the toughest decision that I ever made. And this was in 2014. And I couldn't even watch basketball for an entire year. Couldn't watch it on TV. Couldn't watch it. Oh yeah, I couldn't watch it. It was tough to just watch because that was just me. That was my thing. But my daughter, getting her straight and being there for her felt good to me. I knew I made the right decision. Sometimes in life, you got to make tough decisions that are the best decisions, but maybe not decisions that you really wanted to make.
Man, you preaching to the choir right now, man.
Huh?
That's what I'm going through right now. So you preaching to the choir. I understand. So I'm as you saying this right now, I feel you, Coach. I feel you 100%. Man.
Yeah. And so, like I said, when she went into North Florida, this is why I'm so proud of her. When she went into North Florida, her major was still physical therapy. One day she called me up and she was like, Dad, she said, I changed my major. I said, what'd you change it to? She said, psychology. I said, really? I said, okay. I said, she said, what do you think? I said, if that's what you feel in your heart, I said, I'm support you. That's what you want to do. So from going through the depression thing that she went through as an athlete and trying to get the right help and seeing what that does to people, she wanted to become a psychologist so she can help people. So she changed her major to psychology, got a master's in clinical psychology, and now she's a licensed mental health therapist. And man, she's doing great work in that space, man. She's sending me all these different websites that she's created. She works for a company now, but her boss that she works for is allowing her to create all these different assessments and different things and programs, new programs that can help people with mental health. So she loves it, man. She loves helping people. And so I'm proud of her for that, man, because there's so many people out there that need mental health help and they don't want to get it because they're afraid to get it. And here's the thing, Troy, all of us have mental health issues that we go through. All of us have periods of where we're depressed, periods of where we're down, periods of where we can't figure out why we're depressed or down. I go through it. Y'all go through. Everybody goes through it. But it's about understanding, like, you know what? Let me find out why I'm going through this. It's that simple, but very hard for people to do because they're embarrassed to get help. Man, I ain't never been embarrassed to get help. Help me. I want to feel better.
Yeah, right. And you're someone who's helped a lot of people yourself. So with that being said, and I know that this is something that you're very passionate about, both you and your daughter in the mental health space, what is some of the challenges as athletes that we may go through where it might affect our mental health without us knowing? And for those of us that do know, what would you recommend for an option for us to seek help? Or how would you say for us to help ourselves for those who are, willing to take that route?
You know what? You gotta stop. Social media has really killed your generation, the generations now. It's caused athletes not to seek help because they're afraid of what people are gonna think. The first thing I say for people is stop with the social media stuff. Like I'll give you an example, then I'll go back. Like with my social media, I don't sit there and scroll all day. I post my positive messages. But I do know while I'm posting my positive messages and stuff pops on my feed, it's not negative stuff. Because my algorithm, I post positive stuff, so it pushes more positive, what people doing positive in terms of algorithm, in terms of Facebook. I don't scroll on any other ones much. I just post. Because here's the thing, and then again, I'll go back to the athletes. Here's the thing that happens with people, even more so with athletes, because athletes are just on it all the time. Is when you're on social media, you're going to see something that makes you happy. You're going to see something that makes you mad. You're going to see something that makes you sad. You're going to see something that makes you excited. You're going to see something that motivates you. You're going to see something that confuses you. all in a few minutes of scrolling. You're gonna experience all those different emotions. And then when you get off social media, you don't know why. It's like you're in a fog, kind of. You kind of in a fog, and you don't know how to figure some things out. But that is why. That is why. But for athletes, though, what people don't understand is a lot of athletes come from disadvantaged home environments. That's where it starts. And so when they get to school, what happens is they're not getting really the help and direction they need. And here's the thing. Yes, schools have added a lot more mental health, right? But athletes are not going to go to the school's mental health because they don't, even though the mental health people are not supposed to tell the coaches, athletes don't know if they ain't telling the coaches what they're talking about. So they're going to be hesitant. They ain't going to go to someone there. Anybody that's connected to the school, even if the school says, okay, here's an outside person. Well, y'all found that outside person. So the athlete's not gonna do it. And so I just wish that there was a way to get these athletes to get more mental health help. But here's the thing that I know that, and I've been in my coaching services that I've been doing with some athletes and just regular people, is that if athletes and people learn emotional intelligence at a younger age, it'll help them. It'll help them avoid a lot of the problems that they don't even know is coming. If that makes sense. Because one thing that they don't understand is they don't understand how to regulate their own emotions. They don't understand how to manage or regulate someone else's emotions that's talking to them. They don't understand how to understand someone else's energy or how to protect their own energy. They're engulfed in the whole thing when it comes to emotions, because that's where it starts. But one thing that I have in my program, I have a thing that I call code switching, in terms of helping athletes with code switching. And that's helping them manage all the different relationships they have. See, athletes, you have your parents, you have your teammates, and nowadays you got your agents, they got money people, you got your girlfriend, you got your side chick, you may have a baby, you may have friends, extended family. So I teach them how to manage each one of those relationships. So I teach them what your responsibility is to every one of those relationships. And what they end up understanding is, I don't have a responsibility to a side chick. I don't have a responsibility to my boys. I don't have a responsibility to my extended family. And so I have them write these different things down, what their responsibility is to each one. I have them write down what their boundaries they're going to set for each one, because all these outside people is what brings the athletes down. And so I have them set boundaries for each one of these and have them write it all down. So it goes a little deeper than that too, but that helps them to manage those relationships. So now they have a plan. Right now, these athletes don't have a plan, so they're afraid to say no. They don't know what to say to this guy. This guy says, well, we've been boys for a long time. They don't know what to tell him, so it's always yes. So I give them structure and have them put it on paper, so now they can have something to refer to. But that's the thing. Athletes need more guidance on how to manage the relationships around them, and that can help them stay focused, and be more successful.
Absolutely, Coach. He just gave us some
gems. Dropped some gems right there, Coach Hanson.
He was taking notes.
I'm over there like, this in my bag.
Right? We got to write this stuff down. Hey, I'm about to run this back several times.
Right.
But, Coach, man, I really, really appreciate you for joining us today. But before we let you go, because we know you have things to do, we want to give you an opportunity to share with us what you're doing. Mm-hmm. I know you mentioned your coaching, but it seems to be like more of like a life coaching situation you got going now. Share with us what you got going on and how we can find you. I know where to find you, but for the people, let them know where they can find you, Coach.
Most of my time these days is spent building. Me and my fiance, we have a concierge delivery service. And it's a grocery and retail delivery service, and it's for affluent people that don't have time to do that grocery or retail shopping online, right? And so basically, we do all that for them. But one of the biggest things that we do, I can't go into great detail because there's a lot, is we protect their online data and digital footprint. Because, there's a lot of these websites and these third-party services, they steal your information. They track your information. They steal it. They share it. So we protect them from that happening. We're that bridge between them and that information being kept a secret to them and personal to them, while they're still able to shop online for their groceries or retail items. So it's and it's the errand and courier concierge service as well. So that's my time right now, pretty much daily spent working on that and building that for my fiance and I. And then again, I still have the coaching services, and that's pretty much when somebody reaches out and, for some type of presentation, service, help or whatnot, for me to help an athlete, help a student, help an individual. When someone reaches out, that's when I really tap into that, other than posting what I post on social media. But most of my time is spent, building that delivery service for me and for my fiance and I. But we're excited about it, really excited about it.
What is that delivery service called? Like, what is the company?
It's mid-serve. So if you want to someone go on the link, it's www.mid-serve.com. And so, eventually it's going to be, eventually I'm going to expand, nationwide. But like now, I'm still in the process of just refining everything and tightening it up. But definitely go to the website, check it out. It's going to be very good. It's going to be great.
Yeah, and I want people to follow your Instagram handle too, because you be dropping some gems on there, telling people like, hey, to think about it, you'll break things down in a very logical and realistic way where everyday people can relate to, and like you'll say, hey, I'm gonna drop this bar on you, and I want you to think about it. So where can they go see that at, Coach?
My Instagram is Coach Hanson 35. But my whole thing, T and Troy, is the fact that when I drop those gems and stuff on there, my plan is to keep things as simple as possible, because I'm sure both of y'all have probably went online and looking for something motivational, somebody talking about something, and they keep things the way they explain it is very technical, and it's not something that the regular person can just soak in. And so that's my whole thing. I like to keep it simple to where people can be like, okay. And you wouldn't believe how many DMs, how many messages, how many comments I get from people, I don't know them, but they're thanking me. Even on TikTok, they're thanking me for, for just giving that information. I got people on TikTok saying, I appreciate it, Unc. I don't even know who they are. They call me Unc.
Hey, Coach, well, I might not always like it or comment or whatever. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But just so you know, I'm always locked in with you, and every time I'm looking out for what you're going to post, because I know that in my life directly you've given me some game, and then now that I've grown up and I've been moving around the world, you're still giving me that game to this day, and we appreciate you coming on the pod today. It meant so much to me, Coach, so thank you for being here, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I appreciate you and Troy both having me on, man. But here's the thing, too, coming back to social media, is I don't even concern myself with whether somebody likes it or comments, because I already know what's helping people. I've got enough messages from people that don't even never comment or like it, that says it helps them. And that's what people don't understand. That's why, if you're trying to help people, even if you help one person, that's great. So I already know without even worrying about whether there's many comments or likes or nothing. I already know it's helping thousands and thousands and thousands of people just from the messages I've gotten over the years to people that don't even comment or like. Because here's the thing that people don't understand, especially, again, going back to athletes, when they're looking at whether somebody's liking their post or whatever. That's a lot of people on social media that looks every day, but they're hands off. They don't comment. So it doesn't matter about liking and comment. It's about putting positive stuff out there. And I want to tell you guys, I want to say this to you guys. I appreciate, Troy and T, this podcast you have, because there's a lot of ex-athletes, professional athletes out there that have podcasts now. And the only one I watch is Carmelo's. All the other ones is all about negative drama, man. They're not helping at all. And to be in their positions to just have those type of podcasts, but it's what they're getting paid to do. But I hate it because they in a position where they should have podcasts like you guys because a lot of people are watching and they can help a lot more people. But for the money, they're going the negative route, putting drama and the players talking about each other and so I don't even watch them. But I appreciate you guys, man, putting this type of podcast on.
Yeah, man. The thing that we want to do here is we want to entertain, we want to encourage, we want to inspire and motivate. Definitely want to give flowers to people that we appreciate and that's been examples for us like you. And that we want to spread positivity and put positivity on the internet. So that's a huge thing. And thank you for pointing that out. And because it's a huge thing of like what we want to present to the world.
Right.
Yeah. And I also think that what you said, Coach, about like the consumption of like you'll see a video and it'll make you confused, or you'll see a video and make you sad. There's so much consumption out there. It's like almost a hyper consuming these things, right? And why not be the people that actually push positivity? Because there's so much negativity in this world right now, and it's like there's not many of us that's actually doing this. So, and this is actually what we want to do. This is what we're here to inspire,
Let's do it.
And that's why I say I'm proud of you guys, man, because it's not. Most people, they want to push the negative because that's just the way our country has become, and I'm looking for, when I go on social media, if I'm looking for something, even to inspire myself, I'm looking to see who's putting positive stuff out there, because when you scroll with all the other stuff, man, you build anxiety. People don't realize, during the day they have anxiety. They have no clue why. And it's because you've been scrolling on social media and, quietly building up anxiety. And now you don't know how to get rid of it.
Well, we're going to change that, or at least add into the positive space, add into the positive bucket with Last Shot. So that's been another episode of Last Shot Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. I want you to like, share, and subscribe. But if you don't do anything else, I want Real Tampa to put 813 in the chat, and Real South Florida, horns up in the chat. That's been another episode of
Horns Up.
Horns Up,
Horns
baby.
up,
Thank
baby.
you, Coach.
All right, y'all have a good one now. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely,
Yes, sir.
Coach. Thank you for blessing us with your presence today.
Sir.
Thank you. And hey, and you want to have me on again, just let me know. No problem.
Yeah, you
Absolutely.
definitely got to come back. You dropping some game today,
You dropping
baby.
Super game.
Got to have you back.
All right, but man, y'all be easy.
All right, fam. Love, Coach.
All right.